want to welcome you, each and every one of you, to the Mindful Session. As I always say, it's a pleasure having you, and it's a pleasure being here with each and every one of you. Today I have a special guest with me that I've been trying to get on the show for a while, but he's been avoiding us. But I have the pleasure of having my co-host with me, Sir David Sleet. How are you, David?
Good afternoon, everyone. Unisa, it's great to be back in the studio. I'm really looking forward to today's session. Really am.
It's a pleasure to have you. My guest today is Sir Richard, a gentleman of all nations, a gentleman of God, a gentleman of faith. Thank you for being on the show.
It's an honor to be here. Viewers, it's a pleasure to be on the show.
Please introduce yourself before we move on.
My name is Richard Cunningham. I simply just call myself Richard Cunningham, but I have a background of media. So for the last over 15 years, I've been running on media company. I'm also a chaplain, NSS chaplain. So I'm a trained minister. Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, please.
Do you know, I think we've done almost 40 shows now, and we have touched on almost every part of mindfulness.
Precisely.
Except faith.
Wow.
So today's show
today is all going to be around faith.
So today's show is called the Mindfulness of Faith.
Wow.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's just focus on it. You know, there's so many people believe in different aspects of faith. Now, what we're going to do today, we're going to explore the whole aspect of faith. You understand? Now, some people believe it's one God, but this God is called different names. Allah, Jehovah, and so forth. But without faith, where are we moving forward? We need something to believe there is a higher being. Am I wrong or right, gentlemen?
Now, you've mentioned Allah, you've mentioned God, you've mentioned various. There's a distinct difference between some of these names you've mentioned.
Because to my understanding, to my, knowledge, it's one God.
Yes.
But just called different names. Different believers.
But if you look at the other faiths, the Hinduism and the Sikhism, they refer to their high beings as gods. But is that the true one God? That is the question to be asked.
That is so. But, okay. Well, I always tend to be corrected, but I'm always right.
We shall find out.
Let's dig into it.
And there is the question of self-faith.
Yes.
I think it's one of those topics where faith is very, very personal. And the way somebody engages with their faith, the way they understand the moral compass that a faith can give somebody is very different to that of an organized religious processing of faith. Would you say that was fair?
I mean, that can be debated. As simple as yes.
It's a fair debate to have.
Yes.
Well,
and it's also always healthy to have a debate. That's the only way we can also understand each other.
But nowadays, as I said, the worst thing to get into a debate is politics and religion. Would you agree with that?
No, we should not always believe what the papers, the news. They were always going to come with those phrases.
Those sound bites there are avoidances, aren't they? And over, I'd say, the last probably 100 years or so, we've avoided talking about politics, we've avoided talking about religion, we've avoided talking about really big topics that are ingrained in our own psyche as individuals.
So are you saying this is a form of separation?
I think it's caused a degree of separation.
You see, the reason I believe they're saying you should avoid politics and you should avoid religion, because there are some faiths their belief is so strong that if you oppose it, they can actually, they can fight against you. So that says we should avoid it. But the question is, can you live without politics? Because most of countries, they're involved in politics. So you can't say you can't live without it. Now again, if you come to religion, you can't live without it, because that's a fundamental lifestyle of a lot of things, a lot of individuals. It's good to discuss it.
Yeah, it is good to discuss
absolutely.
it. Because right now, when you say it is a fact, every country has to have a political government.
They don't have to. They don't have to. I'm saying.
So you're saying there should be a free nation?
No, I'm saying this is something that we cannot avoid.
Yeah.
It's already there. So you can't say, oh, we can't live. You should not talk about politics. You should not talk about religion.
But
because
these are things we
exactly
on a daily
you can't
basis.
you can't avoid it.
And one of the things that strikes me when this conversation comes to any table, dinner table, board table, studio table, is exactly the same. Faith has already been contained under the label religion. Faith is bigger than religion, has always been, in my mind. And when you put a cloak over that faith, because we want to talk about this religion, that religion, it's the perception of how faith comes from here to the table.
Now, if
May I correct you? Let me just come in before. Now, I want the viewers and we here at the studio to understand some distinct differences when someone says religion and relationship. You see, there's a clear difference, because you see, if you ask the question, what is religion? What is the definition of religion? Because you see, religion is a way or a system, but there's a difference between a system and a relationship. And that's what a lot of people, I'm not into religion. There's a difference. I am into relationship.
With the faith.
Not with the faith.
Okay.
with
faith,
the higher being?
You can call it that way, yes. But there's a clear, I have a relationship with God. Now, what do you mean by a relationship? Just like a father and son have a relationship. It means there's a communication.
Yeah, but
there's
that's
understanding.
But that's why we say, Father, forgive me for their sins. Just like, you have your son come to you when your child have done wrong.
That's right.
And say, Father, forgive me.
That's right.
So that is the relationship that you're referring to. Ladies and gentlemen, may I just say, as we go on to this show, the essence of this show today, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that in life, one has to believe in something. There is a creator. Scientists say that we were created out of water or so, and there's so many explanations that have come into play. As I've always stated, you be your own judge, but one thing you have to realize is that nothing happens for no reason. There was Adam and Eve. I've been in a debate, a heavy debate, that say was a myth. It's in my head. It's something that was led for me to believe. You understand? So everything, there's always something that is there to dispute. So what evidence can you relate to us, to the audience, as to say this is a reality? In terms, let's pick you mentioned Adam and Eve.
Correct.
Now, the scientists believe that there was a Big Bang. So now let's put this into argument. There was a Big Bang and suddenly a tree pop up. There was a Big Bang and the fishes come across. There was a Big Bang and the river comes. Logically, does it make sense? The answer would be not really. There can't be a Big Bang and then suddenly something appears. Was there a Big Bang and then the chairs appear?
What do you mean a Big Bang?
That's what the scientists come up.
Well, the evolutionary.
Okay.
They said there was a bang.
Yeah, and the formation process.
Yeah, the
started.
formation process. I understand.
Yeah.
So evolution.
So let's bring it to our natural world now. this chair did not just pop out from nowhere. Somebody actually, designed it in their mind, in their concept. They came up with that idea and they form a chair because one need to sit on it. So in a human sense, how would it make sense? I mean, let's not even talk about they're saying, oh, they evolved from apes. I mean, if they evolved from apes, how come apes are still apes? Monkeys are still monkeys.
Okay.
And,
there is that classic argument that, if we came from this, then why is this still here, right? But it's a myth that we evolved from, because we evolved as a primate collective, chimpanzees, orangutans, all of the primates of which humans are part. So we all came out, we are all branches of that evolutionary track from something before that. We weren't chimpanzees that evolved. Homo sapiens and Neanderthals both existed on the planet at the same time, and the fossil history shows that at some point Homo sapiens wiped out Neanderthals. We've had conflict in our human evolution right the way back from the time that we kind of stood up, if you like. And the arguments of at what point do we present our argument has always been there since the dawn of time, about this is my view and this is how I'm going to present my view in order to outprove somebody else's view. That's human nature. And when we look at faith, faith is what we believe. There is no evidence that categorically says what I believe, you should believe. True.
What you believe, I should believe. Sitting Bull, who is someone that I have admired since my teens, someone who said an eagle is an eagle, a crow is a crow. That doesn't mean that we have to fight about the sky.
Absolutely.
And this is where faith and religion have diverted over generations, and that sense of, no, this is the way we are supposed to fly, has reigned supreme. So the loudest voice becomes the only voice.
The dominant. Yeah.
And that then segregates other voices. So now the crows don't fly because the eagles are the largest creature. It doesn't happen like that.
One thing we need to understand is that in life, everyone is trying to outshine. Let me put it in layman's terms. Everyone is trying to outshine the other. My religion is better than yours because so and so. No, my business is better than yours because so and so and so. So the essence of it is that it's up to you as an individual. As we say, where there's hope, there's faith, and where there's faith, you understand? So we have always led that life. Me personally, I believe in my Heavenly Father. I believe in my Creator. I don't think I was just created out of luck. I think I'm here for a purpose. I think I'm here for a reason.
Absolutely.
So with that said, I think it is up to us, because if we don't have that faith, we don't have that hope, then what is our purpose on earth?
But it's a very valid point. And also we've been created. You see, one thing I want to urge our viewers to get this. You were created on the surface of this world for a purpose. It's very crucial. And there's a lot of individuals running up and down. They have no clue of their purpose in life. Therefore, you see, when you find your purpose, you will find fulfillment in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how often have we spoken to guests or we've had conversations that highlight the importance of that self-awareness in us before we go out into the world and kind of impose our thoughts, our feelings on anybody else. Faith is something that's inside us. And when we find whatever that faith is, religion is the coat, right? But
religion is a coat.
Coats, a jacket,
Okay.
something that we wear
I thought he said
that
coat.
allows us to understand
Gotcha,
and build that relationship with our faith.
Okay.
The faith is inside us. And I'm sure I can't remember the actual verse, but somewhere that we are all our own gods. God is inside us. And we were created in the image because it was whoever we were that was inside us.
Do you believe that?
The religion, I'm not.
I think
just
it's
wanna
just
lie.
he's
You just
emphasizing
wanna-
his points.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, when we divide faith and put religion as the president over that faith, that's something that's the outside dictating what's on the inside, rather than working out what the faith is on the inside and then finding the coat to wear that makes that work. And when we have a situation where we have generation into generation going, no, this is the coat you will wear, we're not allowing that faith to be discovered, that self-awareness that's inside every single one of us to shine. And there you have a conflict between what our parents are telling us, this is what your religion is, to a faith that doesn't necessarily match that individual. And when we can break that connection so that it's the inside that is the important part, and like you said, Richard, the relationship with that faith becomes more important than the construct of how to have that relationship.
You know, again, they say, as I always say, they say, when you go to church, mosque, the masjid, whatever it is, whatever faith you believe in, togetherness, God shines upon you, right? He's there where many people gather. I'm not sure of the code right now.
Okay.
But also, you can be in your home and you can pray, and He's always listening. And He's aware of everything that is going on because He's the creator of all. He's the most high being. You understand? Now, the 5%ers call themselves gods. In America, they have the 5%ers. They say the son is the son. The mother, I forgot how that goes, but the essence of what I'm trying to convey onto the viewers is the fact that during these times, we need to believe in something. We need to believe in something because it's too much going on. We need to have faith in something, that this is going to pass. You understand? Nothing is here to stay, but you need to have that faith. And what can resonate faith more than anything?
I'll tell you one story. I'm a chaplain, so I go to visit, a hospital visit. Now, we have individuals they don't believe in anything. They're atheists. They don't want to believe in anything. But it's amazing how when they are in need, when they're facing death, when whole hope is gone, the life they believe, either they came from whatever source, is going down. It's amazing how they show so much interest in knowing this creator, this God, this high being. So you find that really in ourselves, in each and everybody, they have that belief. They might deny it, but there is a fact that they know there's a God.
It's that sense of finding what's inside of them, and when we're confronted with mortality.
That's right.
And having visited or been visited by my mortality multiple times, I can say categorically, I have always only ever come away from that looking inside at what I believe at that moment in time, rather than looking outside for a solution to why I think what I think. And by looking inside and having that self-awareness at what I find to be my faith has always been stronger than what someone else tells me I should have as my relationship with what's inside of me.
The key word you've mentioned, relationship. Now, I want to come back to your earlier point you mentioned when we go to church. Now, there's a clear distinction in the Bible that the church itself is not the building. The church is ourselves. We are the church. That's what the Bible says. So it's not the building. So that's why it's crucial for us to understand the importance of relationship.
But that's why they say you can stay at home and
That's right.
still pray, and He's listening.
Absolutely.
But they also say where many gather.
Now, on that part of the scripture, the reason they say that is for edifying one another. When we come together, we encourage one another. When I'm down, I can encourage you. When someone is down, you can encourage. So the purpose of gathering together is for edifying the body, edifying each other, encouraging one another. That's what the Bible talks about.
And also, now being a motivational speaker, being on stage,
Yes.
the more people you have, the more they can get excited.
Absolutely.
If you only have one or two people, it's hard to move them. Yeah, we do move them, but but the more they gather, the more you can get more momentum.
Absolutely.
And
So I
it's
do
that
understand
group
that.
energy
That's right.
that you are
That's
tapping into
That's right.
that allows whatever their faith is in themselves at that moment in time, in the example that you're giving of motivational speaking, you're tapping in to that desire for that energy to come to the surface. And that's what preachers have done. It's what motivational speakers have done. It's what every politician reaches out to do when they speak to crowds. And that has been the same in human existence from way before what we understand as religion. Because it's human nature to come together. It's how we survive as a species.
Sure.
And like you say, we are social creatures.
That's right.
And let's remember, our species only survived against Neanderthal because we came together as a species to stand up against something that quite comfortably would have wiped us out. We're now in a situation where we have a virus that will quite comfortably wipe us out if we don't come together. And when we look at the mindfulness of faith and we get tripped up by the display of religion and the control of that faith, we don't come together. We divide and we come into our smaller groups, not our larger groups. And that, I think, is one of the most dangerous things right now we face.
You see, the thing about this show today, and I'm so glad, I know we are so glad, we are also glad to have you, is because, as Evie said, with this virus, with this crisis, it's a lot going on.
Absolutely.
Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, in every aspect. Now, the mindfulness of faith is just for us to narrate that we need that faith, we need that belief. It's irrelevant. We're not here to dictate to anyone as to what they should believe in. But we just want people to know they need to have faith, mindfulness of their awareness that there's a creator, there's someone. They always say when you die, there's heaven or hell. And I always had someone that used to always tell me, this is hell we are living in. Do you disagree with that? Because I see your facial expression.
My expression actually, when you mentioned the word mindfulness of faith, you see, I want the viewers and us here to understand faith. You see, we are born with the five senses. We can see, we can smell, we can taste, we can hear, and we can touch. But there's another sixth sense, and that's the word faith. Because without faith, you cannot even believe in God. God is saying you need actually to have faith, which is a sixth sense, to believe it. So what you're discussing here is not sin. And the Bible encourages all of us to have faith in order even to please God.
I think for a lot of people, the sense of heaven and hell can be right here, right now, based on their belief, their faith, and the situation that they find themselves in. And you can take any situation, and with the awareness that of self and the faith in oneself, that they can turn what seems like hell on earth to that individual can become heaven on earth. And it's about the relationship with the world around them and themselves, and it's that balance between the two that has allowed amazing senses of engagement with the world around them.
Absolutely.
And that relationship that they are then able to have with the people around them changes because their sense of balance with themselves and the world around them has changed.
Absolutely. To go back to what you said,
Yes.
you go to hospitals and so forth. Now, and also you indicated that a lot of people that never believed in a higher being, in God, but when they're on the verge of death, they say, "Pray for me."
Absolutely.
They start searching for God.
Yes.
And vice versa. A lot of them that have cancer, terminal illness, all of a sudden start seeking a higher being. Why wait till we get to that point for us to say, "This is what I believe in"?
And how many people question it the other way when they're faced with mortality and they have believed every day of their life? I'm reminded of the story of a believer who was shipwrecked. Goes out sailing, ship capsizes, sinks to the bottom of the ocean, treading water. Helicopter comes. Get on the ladder. No, God will save me. It's like, no, look, this is it, mate. You're in the middle of the sea. Get on the, no, God will save me. Helicopter radios the position and a boat comes out. No, I'm not getting on the boat. God will save me. The man drowns 3 days later, gets to the gates of heaven, furious that he's died. And God says, I sent you a helicopter and I sent you a boat. What part of anything that you believe in suggests that that was not me? Right? And it's, like you say, it's our relationship with the world around us and our faith inside us, not the religion, that puts us in that situation.
And I also want the viewers to understand that, you see, because of this relationship, God, just like the story you narrated, we should not expect some voice from heaven to say, Unisa, do this. God uses the environment. And the environment. God uses it. That's why the greatest one, you see, the laws of God just boils down to two. Love God with all your heart and love people. Now, this amazing studio, we have a show called Give Love, Show Love. This is the real commandment of God. We're supposed to love God. And if you love God, would you kill somebody? If you love God, would you hate somebody?
10 commandments.
Absolutely. But it all boils down to the two. Love God, love your neighbor.
You know, something that has always struck me as kind of confusing when we hear about religion and extremism. And my understanding from all religions is they are void of extremism. And when you go to an extreme in any religious doctrine, you have left faith behind and you have left religion behind.
Yes.
And when we as a culture of human beings in the 21st century see somebody that has lost their way from faith, and I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about faith,
Yes.
to an extremist point of view, we've lost the capacity to challenge. We've lost the sense that actually this is somebody who has lost their contact, their relationship with what we understand in that self-awareness.
You see, the thing is, I've stated this numerous of times, there's no one who's perfect.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing as perfection. So let's get this right. We make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And then that's why we're able to say, Father, forgive me for my sins, or Father, forgive me for my wrong. You understand? And we always say, many of us say, I am a work in progress. I'm not perfect. I'm still striving towards. And that is why the thing that confuses me is that a lot of people that create a lot of mayhem know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
But when they get in trouble or in a hospital or incarcerated, they say, Father, forgive me. Once you get me out of this,
I do.
I will do right.
Like a
And
bargain.
some don't have the faith, but once they get in that predicament,
And it's one side of the same coin, isn't it? That there are those who will blame whatever religious deity it is if their world isn't going the way they want it to. And we've seen throughout centuries and eons of human civilization how when there's been a famine, we have to do something to appease God. Well, there's a famine because it didn't rain. Does that mean if we go and kill 14 goats and 3 children that we're going to get rain?
those are superstitious people.
Yeah, but this is where I'm saying is there are those who have that sense of when things go wrong, it's because they've done something wrong and they're being punished by a God. And it's the flip side of exactly what you've said. When something is going wrong, they pray to that God to go, okay, well, I won't make these mistakes again if you get me out of this.
So you say those that get in trouble is a form of punishment?
No, there are those that believe that, have believed that. And it's the flip side. And it's because I think that we've lost the sense of the faith is in us. And it's how we interact, the relationships that we have, the way that we engage with the world around us, that empowers those relationships, good relationships and bad relationships.
That is true. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah, let me just add on to your point. You see, in the scriptures, in the Bible, there are times and seasons where man has fallen or has come short of God's presence. So what God does in certain various scriptures, you find that God will, example, cut off rain because he wants to draw the attention. It's just like a father hiding the snacks or some goodies from his son because his son break the rules. So you'll find in the scriptures where God cuts off supplies of, let's say, rain. And so I believe this, we're the season where God is calling every human being back to him, because honestly, we have lost track of God. We have people that are so violent, we have people that are so extreme, and God is saying, look, you have lost the plot, guys. I need you to come back. Just an example, if your car, those who are driving, if your car is damaged, you go to the manufacturer. Now, if you believe and we believe that God has created us and we are malfunctioning, where would we go? We will have to go to somebody who is responsible for our manufacture. If you drive a BMW, you cannot go to a Volkswagen to try to fix you because they are not able to. So as we human, we believe that God has created us, and God is saying, look, this is a time we need to come back to him. And also in this time of pandemic, God is saying, look, the solution to this COVID is not vaccine really. We need to get back to the relationship that God has established in us from day one.
That one, you're going to have a lot of messages.
Absolutely, and that's what we want, and that's what we want. Yeah.
Because we get it. So just so
no. Don't get me wrong. The vaccine is all good, but the whole picture of all of this is God is saying. I'm not just saying for the pandemic. No. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that God is calling us to get back to Him.
You know, Richard, before I even ask you the question I was going to ask you prior, David touched upon a lot of things, and I tend to take a lot of mental note, but I'm going to reverse it in a different way.
Yes.
If you allow me. There are people that are suffering financially, live in bad neighborhoods, which are God-fearing people. They pray, they go to church, they give their, tithes and so forth. But at the end of the day, they are suffering. The people that they're giving their monies to, I'm giving you money today, but when I go home, I don't have nothing to eat. But the person I'm giving my money to is in a helicopter. Is living in a mountain, far in a mansion.
Do you know they asked Jesus the same question?
But if you allow me, and also they are saying, God, why am I going through this? Now, they say never ask why.
Let me come to, and that's why I said they came to Jesus the same way, because there was a man by the pool. He was blind. He could not speak. He was blind for 38 years. So they asked Jesus, they said, now, this man is it something that he has done wrong? Why is he suffering? This man should be able to see. Why is he blind? Now, what was Jesus' response? He says, no, this person is blind in this situation because God wants the glory to be manifested. So a testimony. So sometimes when we see bad things happening in our neighborhood, not because somebody has done something wrong. No, anyone can ask the viewers, what about these children dying? Have they done something wrong? No, we should not just say, this person is suffering.
We as people try to reverse it as to say God is called his angel. You understand? That's how people look at it now.
And it comes down to what is the coping capacity of the individual in the situation that they are in, and how can we make that situation as manageable for them based on the experience that they have.
It's something similar. I was ready to ask him, but it's like he's reading my mind.
Absolutely. He's using faith.
Yeah. But if you want to ask it, go ahead. But my thing is, someone who's going through so much, who has lost faith, how can you relate a message for them to come back as to say, this is what you need to believe in. This is the creator of all, the king of kings, the omega, the alpha, and so forth. How can you convey that message for them to believe and come back and say, okay, I need to fast, I need to meditate, I need to get back to my holy self?
You see, one of the greatest...
that was a message question you were going to ask.
you see, one of the greatest miracle, or one of the greatest thing that an individual wants is a peace of mind. You can have the highest amount of money in your account, but if you don't have peace in your mind, you can never enjoy that house. You can never enjoy that nice living. So some people are suffering. The number one thing they need is peace in their mind.
We have audiences right across the world. Some in rich areas, some in the least rich areas you can imagine. Okay. When we look at the happiness scale across that platform, right? What you might see as financially wealthy, affluent areas, they're not the happiest. There is something in the sense of the self-awareness that somebody has where the happiest they can be is just being with somebody else.
They love.
And having that relationship that is more important than having the money, the car, the house, the air conditioning, everything else. It comes down to what is inside each and every one of us.
I can answer that for you.
Faith, as I said right at the top of this, is something that is so very personal.
Absolutely.
And there are things that we will all believe, and there will be things that you believe, and I believe, but we won't share.
Absolutely.
Understanding the mindfulness of faith comes back to exactly what you said just a few moments ago. We all hunger for that peace of mind.
Absolutely.
but we're all searching for that bit inside us, that self-awareness.
Gentlemen, I really feel as though I'm not satisfied.
And you have a right to.
I feel as though there's so much more that we need to ask you. You need to explain to us. So we need to have you back on the show.
Absolutely.
Sincerely, because I feel as though
I told you we'd get in for more than one show, didn't I?
yeah,
You're a prophet.
yeah, because I feel as though a lot of the viewers are like me right now. There are things that I need to ask you. I know David, and I know the emails, the text messages are going to come through.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we really did not even get to the nitty gritty, as they
To
would
the crux
say.
of the matter, not really.
Yeah.
No.
So as we come to an end of this segment, which indeed, Richard, we need to have you back, by at least next month. And so as we come to an end, David, Richard, is there anything you two like to convey onto our viewers?
Thank you for spending the time with us this afternoon. I hope it's been not only insightful and thought-provoking, but I hope you've also enjoyed some of the laughter and the banter that has been around the table, because I certainly have. And this is not a hard topic to open up, but it is a hard topic to allow to open up, because we're so used to not opening up about it. So Richard, thank you so much for being here.
That's okay.
Really have enjoyed the session, and I look forward
Bless.
to the next one.
Absolutely. Well, for me, I just want to, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this great, amazing show. If there was any one thought I want to leave with the viewers is, you see, I want you to understand that you were created on this earth for a purpose. Now, the question is, what is that purpose? You need to go deep in you and further. That's why you see we were created with sight. We were created with, we can breathe, we can hear, we can sense, we can touch. But there's a sixth one, which is faith. Now, the question is, right now you are alive, you're enjoying life or whatever it is. But the question is, after this life, where are you going? Now, it's a question that whether you believe in God, whether you don't believe in God, whether you are atheist, it's something that you have to face, because there's afterlife. Whether you like it or not, you're going to die. So you need to find out, who is this creator? Who is this God? And I want you to, find out more about faith. That's what I can say.
Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed.
It's a pleasure having Richard on the show. As David stated, this is, a conversation that is provoking to so many. But with us, we tend to put a little humor into it to show that it is okay to have this kind of conversations. The essence of life is for us to try to establish, to find out our cause. Why are we here? And as Richard said, to find our purpose. Once we have a purpose, we're able to find the joy. Without a purpose or cause, why are you here? Do your own search. It's good to have peace of mind. So as we come to an end, ladies and gentlemen, what do you believe in? What are you seeking? And why do you think you are created? Why do you think you're on this earth? Why are you on this journey? What is your purpose of being? I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. As I've always stated, David and I banter, but we're the best of friends, on set, off set. Richard is part of the team, so we all joke around. But again, we need that faith. So thank you for watching the Mindful Session, and this is the Mindfulness of Faith. Have faith, believe everything, there is a reason to it. So gentlemen, I thank you both.
Thank you.